Cancer, welcome to the first half of February 2017 general tarot reading. It's Rena here, and before I lay out the cards, I just wanted to tell you about a lunar eclipse that is happening on February 10th, and this is going to be in the sign of Leo. Leo is your second house of earned income. So that is interesting. Let's see what happens with that. Because lunar eclipses are very powerful full moons, there may be some people who are ending a certain source of income, but I don't see why lunar eclipses can't be even more powerful than full moons, in the sense that they have a longer influence. But what I mean is why it has to be an ending, because the full moon in a lot of people's minds who are into like paganism and that sort of thing is the most powerful period for manifestation. And we always talk about the new moon for manifestation, but the full moon is the time, the culmination of all of that. So yes, you can, certainly at the time of the new moon, you can dream and intend and things like that. But the full moon could be the fruition of that. So why a lunar eclipse would be any different, I don't know. I think the eclipses are like runaway trains, where it's like you don't even have much say in what happens. You just have to kind of accept if change comes to you. But don't think that it necessarily will, because I certainly can vouch for the fact that the last set of eclipses that we had, they didn't affect me that I knew about. And so I wouldn't put too much stock or fear anything. And I think that you can be more likely to have something happen if you have a planet in that house, in the second house, that is very close to the 22-degree mark of Leo. And that may indicate, and depending on what planet it is, that may indicate certain changes. But I just thought I'd bring that up. Remember, this is a general reading, not only in terms of like the fact it's intended for so many people, but also my focus is not specifically on one thing versus another. So I tend to like to cover all my bases, and that includes, when I do see love as being a theme, I bring it up. And likewise, when I see career matters. In this particular reading, I see career matters. If some of you have a boss who is kind of like your confidant, or there's somebody, maybe it's not necessarily a boss, but it could be a superior, or somebody who has people under them. This person may be of assistance to you as you are kind of navigating things, because I think some of you are looking to maybe expand something. If you work for somebody else, you may want I was going to say a raise, but I really meant a promotion, which includes a raise, I suppose. But the overall theme of this period is the Hangman card in reverse. And I always, when I put it back in the deck, I forget to turn it over, because this is always showing up like this for me lately. And it's like, for some people, it can be a useless sacrifice, that you are allowing yourself to be, I was going to say taken advantage of, but it doesn't have to be that bad. It could just mean that maybe you have loyalties that are too strong for something for people that don't deserve it. In your job, you may be attached to somebody, and it may not be a romantic thing. It could be just like emotionally attached to an older, mature male who is a great sounding board. And it could be a boss because it's a king, so it could be a person in authority, but a caring individual. It could be that you are seeing a counselor, a marriage counselor, a priest, in terms of trying to decide whether or not to leave a person. The person in question, and this could be in work or in your private life, could be a man. It could be a man who is younger than you even, but not a kid. Somebody, he could be up to 40, I guess. And he's an analytical person, but he's very, I was going to say he's very blunt. He says what he means and he means what he says, but he's not necessarily consistent. He's kind of in and out. And if this is in your private life, he may cause a lot of chaos because the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Swords appear to be the knights that stir things up the most. He may be a lawyer, or he may be someone, maybe a salesman, someone who uses his words as a weapon even sometimes, or a manipulator. Could be a manipulative person, but not manipulative like a water sign can be. Manipulative in terms of tugging at the heartstrings. Manipulative in terms of twisting words around, or fast talking. Could be a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius individual. Gemini is the sign right next to you. And I would say out of the three, probably a Libra, because you're both cardinal signs. And, you know, it seems like people tend to gravitate towards those who form certain angles to them, even if it's a challenging angle like a square, which Cancer and Libra have, but there still is that attraction on some level, maybe because you're both you're both doers, you know. In any case, you may feel like a sense of loyalty, or the equivalent emotion in the situation, but you're not sure. Maybe you've met somebody who is a water sign, a fellow Cancer, a Scorpio, or a Pisces, who is much more mature than the person that you're with, and you can see the contrast. And whether or not you are, the other person's attracted to you, you may be developing feelings for that person. In the professional sense, you may feel like you don't want to be in the workplace because of someone that you're working with who may be aggressive and too opinionated. And I would say it's a male. I guess it could be a female, especially if it's an air sign, which is a masculine sign. So I mean, it could apply to either gender, I suppose. But maybe there's just this feeling that this person and you clash. However, it could also be that you are starting to speak up for yourself, and that Knight of Swords is a facet of you. You've stopped being such a doormat, but you're still not sure because maybe you want to advance and you don't necessarily feel that you're being given that chance, because the higher message is about expansion. And it's like you're seeing the great beyond, and you're wanting that for your life. You're not necessarily willing to settle for the same old, and maybe you even want to work overseas. That's always a possibility. Branch out. For some people, you may be thinking about starting your own business, and this is the higher message. So this may be telling you that this is the way you're going to gravitate towards, is to actually do your own thing, because you're probably finding that you're coming up on, with some kind of a blockage, obstacle when you're trying to work for somebody else. And usually cancers are people that are better off working for themselves if they can manage it, because they tend to have real leadership abilities. They tend to have a lot of vision about how they want to do things. And when they have to work for somebody else, they are stymied because they have to take somebody else's orders, and they may not agree with those things. So if that feels true for you, the hangman in reverse may be that you've got this idea in your head that may be very noble, but it's not really relevant, and you're allowing yourself to be guided by, misguided by some kind of an ideal, because you want to be of service. But you're not really being of the greatest service, because you're not utilizing your talents, perhaps, or not utilizing them enough. What crosses you is the Strength card, and so it could be a matter of self-esteem, that you don't think that you have it within yourself to do some of the things, or even to kind of expand. And you may feel like that's for people who, you may downplay some of your talents and abilities. And it could also mean that a Leo person is, part of what's going on. Maybe it's funny, because that's a Wands card too. That could be associated with Leo, the Three of Wands. So perhaps you are deciding about somebody who's born under the sign of Leo, or who has Leo prominent in their chart, and you're not sure if it's going to work, or maybe you're involved with a Leo, and that is kind of causing problems. Leo is a sign right next to you. Yeah, I definitely think that could be a possibility, because we also have this card of choice, and it has 2 fire signs. So could you be choosing between 2 fire signs? Aries, Leo, Sagittarius? But no, I mean, going along with the Three of Wands, the Two of Wands is somewhat similar. It's about, you see, the person's holding the world in their hands. So they may be thinking, should I stay where I am, or should I go? But, it's not always that cut and dried. It's not that easy to move, especially for some people. Cancer people tend to be very home-oriented and, patriotic, in love with their homeland. So if you're going someplace that is not where you were born, it may be quite a significant decision, and you're weighing your alternatives. And I do think that for some people this is about career matters, though, because the Wands can relate to that. Perhaps you are thinking of starting your own business, but you're getting a great offer that relates to, working for somebody else, and maybe that's overseas. You never know. But whatever's happening, you're taking into account the idea of expanding your territory. And so that's very interesting. The outcome is the Ten of Wands, another fire energy, another Wands, and another card of possible career concerns. This is a card of somebody who is working very hard. So it could be that some of you are doing something on the side and you're not sure when to launch, but you have a day job as well. And you may be feeling burned out or threatening to be burned out by all of the activities surrounding whatever it is that you're doing. And so you definitely will want to pace yourself. And as I said in a prior video, it's not, it's not worth it when you're forcing yourself into a place that, takes a toll on you in some way. So if you feel like, and also, by the way, this card can relate to carrying somebody else's burden. So in your private life, it could be that you are doing all of the heavy lifting in the relationship. And it's making you feel like you are, kind of propping it up artificially. It's not really flowing organically. And so that's something to look at. In your professional life, are you doing somebody else's job for whatever reason? Because, you don't want to lose your job, because you're covering for somebody who is not doing their job. These are things to look at because you're the one who's going to suffer. And you may have a lot of opportunities in front of you, but the price might be too high. The price of success. That's what that card represents. According to Anthony Lewis, I have a book of his called Tarot Plain and Simple, and I remember that was like, I think they said the cost of success. I don't know that phrase. Yeah, I think it's like the price of success. Is that sometimes people are working themselves to the bone. And that always has to be looked at. If it's a temporary thing, then that's different. It just might mean that you have to suck it up, for a month or something. Maybe there's some kind of, whatever you're involved with, it has a very busy period of time. It's like, for instance, an accountant. They're very busy between probably the end of January till April. And then they can chill. I was talking to this woman, and she only works a few months out of the year, and then she makes enough money during that short window of time to be able to not work. So that's not the same thing, because she's willing to trade in the hectic qualities that this card represents because she gets that greater sense of freedom in not having to work the other 9 months. So anyway, I don't know what's going on with you personally. If you'd like a personal reading, Cancer, you can click on the link below. But otherwise, have a great first half of February. Bye.